Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Donjo number 71 in a 619 finish. So the 71 is a push plate, is what it is. Okay, 71 is a push plate. This is in the 619 finish. That means satin nickel. Peel away some of the protective layer there. Satin nickel finish. Okay, fasteners are included. As you can see, they are probably number 6 by 3/4 oval head screws would be my guess. Take a closer look at that. Now the 71 is part of a series of flat goods from Donjo. The one, I just realized the one dimension I didn't give you was the material thickness. I believe this is 50 thousandths. .054 is what my caliper tells me. 054. So there is some extended description information down below. Let's look at that and then we'll continue our discussion of what this plate exactly is. Okay, and here's the item that we're looking at. And by the way, I should say first of all, this plate is available in different finishes, and let's take a look at those different finishes now. Polished brass is 605, satin brass is 606, 609 is antique brass, 612 satin bronze, 613 oil rubbed bronze, 619 is our satin nickel, 626 for satin chrome, and 620 is antique nickel. So back to the item we are looking at. It's 4x16 is the size. Now here's a link to a template, and that's really just going to show you, in addition to what we've already covered, the location of the screw holes is also what it will show. Although I realize that I just gave you the available finishes on a brass-based material. You can also do this in aluminum. Which would be 628 finish. You can do it in polished stainless and also satin stainless as well. So locations of the holes are here. The 4x16 size is identified as well. Now, let's look at the product catalog because that's going to allow us to look at some sister products to this item, and by comparison we can have a better look at the plate that we're looking at. It's going to be on page 1B. And here on page 1B is where we're going to see the part number and how it relates to the size. So that's the way that Donjo works. Other manufacturers work differently with how they take an 050 push plate, an 050 thick push plate, and then change the size designation. They do it by part number. So if it's a 71, I mean, it literally means 50 thousandths and 4x16. Okay. There are options that can be done, like radiused corners. Certainly they can do custom sizes. This is just flat material that's been sheared to a specific size. You know, think of it as an incredibly tiny kick plate. You know, so if you have need for a custom size, and occasionally customers do. I've had people buy 3x20, you know, 4 1/4 by 22. Just any size that you really need can be accommodated. So reach out to us. Should you need security screws like Torx, that can be accommodated. They can also do adhesive mount where there would be no holes, and you would literally peel the paper off and then place it on the door with adhesive, two-sided adhesive. I sell that to people who say, you know what, listen, I don't own a drill. I don't want to own a tool. I just want to put this, I just want a push plate. Can you sell it to me? Yes, I can. Two-sided tape. You can do magnetic as well, and that would be appropriate for like a metal clad door, or obviously a steel door. Might be appropriate, and I don't know this, I've never used this in this scenario, but if you had an application where you might need to have hyper sanitary conditions, having it magnetic might be nice if you needed to remove it. Again, just might be an easy way to attach something. Engraving is common. Push, many things can be engraved on this. And then hole cutouts are available. Now, we will very often sell these plates to clients with a 2 1/8 inch hole right up here, or an 1.5 inch hole, because they want to have a deadbolt run through this. Bathroom door in a school, sure, push and pull hardware. A deadbolt to lock it up after hours or to control access to that room. Yes, hole cutouts are definitely fairly common. I have a client who seems to order 2 or 3 sets of them over and over and over again. The 76 through 80 series is the same stuff, except that it's 1/8 of an inch thick. If you're doing a public project, if you're doing something that needs to last several decades, 0.125 might be an option because it's substantially thicker, obviously. Other items that are in here, of course, in the product catalog will be their pull handles of a variety of different shapes and sizes, base materials and finishes. C-pulls and offset pulls as well. ADA accessibility guidelines. It does not tell us the clearance. It doesn't define the clearance that needs to be on a pull, but I do notice that offset pull handles like this that have a 2.5 inch clearance are generally the size clearance that you will see associated with pulls that are handicap compliant, or at least what even though it's not defined, what is considered in a consensus sort of agreement or understanding that 2.5 inch clearance, meaning the face of the door to the inside of the handle, is what manufacturers would make if it was a handicap compliant opening. Push bars, pull bars, they're all available from Rockwood. Okay, very common material here. We sell these often. Ladder pulls are also listed. Ladder pulls are very common nowadays and have been for many years. Generic material in terms of just regular push plates. 3/4 round pull, you can see how your part number changes as your center to center changes, as your diameter changes. Then when we get to the next page, we'll get to the 1 inch diameter pulls, center to center with the plate size. Different finishes. Add H for a 2.5 inch clearance. It'll just be a pull with a deeper projection. Just more variations. Here are those plates with the FC, cutout for cylinder, cutout for deadbolt, cutout for knob, cutout for lever. Different sizes are listed there, all very common. You can pull those part numbers up in our site and find out the location on the template where they'll put that hole for you. Flush pulls of different varieties. The 1846 is going to be the one considered handicap compliant. Cylinder pulls are nice because if you have a door that you don't want any projecting hardware but still need to get in, like if you have an exit device, a small little petite cylinder pull like that is pretty common. This is a combination push and pull plate that you'll see in hospitals. You can push, and then underneath here you can get your hand underneath that raised area and pull it open. Wire pulls are common in dorm rooms and colleges for their obviously their storage areas, clothing, closet areas, and they are so because they're 5/16 diameter, so it's a fairly decent, thickness. Cabinet hardware is listed here down below. This foot pull will go underneath the edge of your door. You'll attach it to the door, and then you can use your foot to hook on there and pull the door open. Okay. Now, wrapping up this video, the last thing I'd like to show you is the link to the manufacturer's page. That's a very handy link because it will allow you to review not only all of the other Donjo products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. If you know the name Donjo at all, you do because of their door reinforcing wraparound plates, as well as latch protectors. But Donjo makes a lot more than just those two items. Hinges, pivots, ladder pulls, strike plates. They do a great job with strike plates, especially extended lip strike plates where you have a applied molding condition or you have a deep inset condition, generally you're going to see them with used with wide throw hinges as well, which I don't think they do wide throw hinges. Accessory hardware, door viewers, things of that nature, surface bolts, flush bolts, etc. Door stops, obviously. Signage is here. Let's wrap up this video on camera. In conclusion, the name Danjo is quite synonymous with all of those different products. Again, most notoriously for latch protectors and door reinforcing wraparound plates. But they do a good job with this other material as well. Okay. This is definitely made of brass. There's no doubt about that. Got a little gold tone peeking through on the very edge. Not that you can see it on the camera, and it's difficult to see otherwise, but it's present. Not much of a bevel on this at all. It's not beveled four edges, but this would be considered relieved or pencil beveled. A very slight bevel. While I can definitely run my hand over this, I wouldn't be exerting a lot of pressure in trying to do that. But that would be relatively safe to do there. That small curve that you see there, that's just part of the manufacturing process when they shear this material. When you get it installed on the door, of course, it'll flatten straight out and perfectly without any trouble at all. I'm partial to Danjo, and it's because I like their people. I call them up. They know me. I know them. Generally, the person who answers the telephone can answer all of the questions regarding it. Where's my stuff? How much of it do you have in stock? What's the lead time? You know, typical questions. They are, I believe, an independent company in the sense that they're not associated with any other outfit, which is both, you know, I would think that there would be positive reasons and maybe some negative reasons. Positive reasons would be you might have a little bit more freedom to make things happen. Hey, I need, you know, can you get them out today? Occasionally they can pull that rabbit out of the hat. A downside of not being part of a conglomerate, multi-billion-dollar company is there is definitely sharing of technologies between companies. So if you're able to do, you know, some sort of high-security cylinder system from company A and their sister company B, they might be able to, they may have some very similar technology. Or in terms of manufacturing capability, like finishing, you know, plating, finishing, powder coating, things of that nature. But Danjo does a great job with what they do, and we're very proud to be a distributor of theirs. If you have any questions on the Danjo number 71, which is a 4x16 plate, or any other Danjo product, please. The only thing that I don't like, it's a, actually, in fact, it is a pet peeve of mine. Guess what's going to happen when you have 5 of these plates in a box? Those screw heads are going to damage those plates. Someone like Danjo ought to know better, and I'm not complaining about Danjo because all of the major manufacturers do it. If you are supplying push plates on a job, you're a distributor, or if you're the manufacturer and you're shipping it, you better make sure there's no damage on those plates before you ship them. The screws need to be isolated and they need to be isolated in their own packaging, and they need to be packaged separately. If you're going to put them in there, put them on the back side. Thank you very much.